I'm so happy to be here, and I want to welcome each one of you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rosangela Berbert, the Executive Director of the Samaritan Counseling Center of the Fox Valley. And I want to thank you for being here today, celebrating with us the 15th Silent Samaritan campaign. This campaign, thank you. This campaign is critical in serving more than 200 women who come to Samaritan each year with financial need to help them get the counseling they so much need. They found the strength to seek help, and you are making sure nothing gets in the way to prevent them from getting the help they need. Thank you. Before we enjoy lunch today and our program, I'd like to take a moment to thank some very special people. I would like to thank the planning committee volunteers who made this campaign happen, and as I call your name, please stand. Mary Bedun, Andra Alpert-Buzz, Beth Karpinski, Susan Morrissey, and Barb Remaker. They might be spread around us or out there. There they are. Thank you. And I also want to make a special recognition here of someone very special in our staff, Jill Harp. Where's Jill? She's back. She's in the back of the stage, I would say, making sure that all the many details that go on to make this possible are taken care of, as she has been doing this and working closely with the committee so we could have this wonderful day today. Thank you so much. We would not be able to do this without all your help. There's Jill. She doesn't like much acknowledgement. At Samaritan Counseling Center, we connect mind and spirit so individuals, families, organizations, and whole communities thrive. And we embody that mission with an inclusive understanding of the sacred. And it's with this inclusive understanding that I invite you to bow our heads for a prayer. Loving Creator of all life, we gather here today with our hearts full of gratitude for these women and men of strength that so generously have shared their resources to help women in need. May we be grateful for all the blessings you have given us, filling us with hope and strength. Bless now the food we are about to eat. May it nurture our bodies as the gratitude we feel today nurtures our souls. In your name we pray, amen. We should be back here, ready to start our program at 12:10. Thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch. So now that we are fed and content, it's time for the heart and soul of this luncheon, when we celebrate strong women, especially the strong and courageous women who come to Samaritan Counseling Center for care. Today is a great day to celebrate. And we have two special reasons for that, besides what we are doing here today. And these two reasons are that first, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and by being here, you are part of a regional effort to eliminate the stigma that keeps people from seeking the mental health care they need so much. And the other reason to celebrate is that just this past Monday was National Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. It is critical to realize that one really good way to ensure that children are mentally healthy is to first ensure that mothers are mentally healthy. That's what makes your support of the Silent Samaritan campaign so important. This year, it will take us at Samaritan more than $150,000 to underwrite the counseling we provide to low-income adults and children. And about half of that amount, $75,000, is needed to serve the mothers, sisters, daughters, aunts, and wives who come to us with financial barriers. I want to thank you for believing in those women and for putting your money where your belief is. To date, you and others have given nearly $20,000 to the Silent Samaritan campaign. That's the exact number there. And this is enough to serve some 85 women in need with a full course of counseling. And you may have already noticed in your tables that we do have some envelopes there. If you feel so moved to make that number go up, we reached over $30,000 last year. We still have time to make that number more significant and reach even more women. But my ask apart, I want to come back to this, that many of you heard about this campaign through one of our dedicated board members or volunteers or even our staff members. Our board members and volunteers are a blessing in upholding our mission. So I would like to recognize them now. So please, board members and Samaritan volunteers, would you please stand? Thank you so much. We have a board of 15 members. Unfortunately, not all of them were able to be here with us, and we have a large number of volunteers who help us. So thank you so much. And our staff also needs to be recognized. They do incredible work, and they are extremely good at what they do. But we would be remiss if we didn't mention the heavy lifting that the students we serve through the Wellness Screen program do, as well as the clients we serve have to do to get well. I would like to recognize our staff. Please, would you stand now? We are about 37 people here today. Thank you so much. As I was saying, they are wonderful, very capable professionals in the different aspects of the services we provide or the work we do. But truly, as I said, the hard work is done by the clients we serve. They are the ones who need to change their own lives, after all. And not even the best mental health provider, professional, caregiver would be able to make that happen for them. So today you're about to meet one, and just in a couple minutes, one of those hard-working clients, Amanda Stock. Yes, Amanda had the support from a Samaritan therapist as she found her way forward in her journey as a single mom. But her life was changed through her own courage, perseverance, and hope, which is part of the story she is going to share with us today. For those of you that do not know, Amanda is a lifelong Appleton resident. She's an active volunteer of the board of the Fox Cities Community Council, United Way 211 Advisory Committee, and she's also active in her children's schools. In 2014, Amanda was elected to represent Wisconsin's 57th district, and is now serving her third term. She's happily married now with 4 children, and I ask you to please join me in welcoming State Representative and former Samaritan client, Amanda Stock. We can give a nod to Jane, and then Jane is in the flowers over there.
Yes. All right, well, I'm so glad to be here with you today. This is such a great event, great turnout to see all of you here supporting such an amazing place and the great work that all the staff is doing at Samaritan Counseling. So I want to just start off by saying that as I am here before you today as Representative Amanda Stuck, 16 years ago, I don't know if we can put up the first slide, that was me. I was 19. I had just given birth to my son, and honestly, as I sat in the hospital that day, I did not know where I was going to go from there. So I was a freshman in the dorms at UW Oshkosh. I had 19 when I had told my dad that I was pregnant. He basically said I'd better figure out what I was going to do because I wasn't going to stay at his house with the baby. So I literally sat that day in the hospital room, afraid the nurses were going to walk in and see me crying because I didn't know where we were going to leave when they let us go. So, generally that is where I start the story when I'm asked to share my story. And I just want to back up a little bit though, since we are talking about Samaritan counseling and the role that counseling plays in the lives of the women that we're here to support today, and really all the clients that Samaritan serves. So, really the reason why I ended up 19 with a child was that my story starts is that I was born to two young parents right here in the Fox Valley. I had a family that suffered with substance abuse. At a young age, I had the unfortunate experience of being a survivor of sexual assault, which led me to the point when I was pretty young of feeling as though my life didn't matter. What happened to me didn't matter. So I didn't make a lot of good choices about the relationships I was in. They weren't very healthy. The things I was doing, the people I was surrounding myself with, because I really didn't think it mattered, and I didn't think my life mattered. And so I ended up here in this photo at 19 with a son. And I was very determined, though, that day. Even though I didn't know what was going to happen and how our story was going to play out, I was incredibly determined that my son was going to have the life I knew he deserved. I didn't know much else, but I knew how much I loved him and how much I wanted his life to be better than mine. So, I worked incredibly hard. With the help of resources in our community, like the Appleton Housing Authority, I eventually did secure housing. I went on to get a degree from UW-Oshkosh, though during that time, it was actually incredibly difficult. I had to work 3 jobs to support us because it was just me. When I was 8 months pregnant, my son's father was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which is pretty often that people in their early 20s are diagnosed with schizophrenia. And so it was really clear that it was just me to take care of us and figure out what our future would be. So I had to work 3 jobs at a time while going to school full time. I remember those days working 3 jobs, coming home, taking care of the house and my son, only to sit down and do homework about midnight and literally just cry because I was so tired and didn't know how I was going to keep going every single day. In fact, I know the staff in setting up this event kept trying to get me to write a script. And what I couldn't tell them is that while I do share my story quite a bit, I actually very rarely ever take the time to write it down, because honestly, remembering those days is pretty difficult. I really don't like to spend a lot of time going back to those days, because there's a lot of judgment when you are a poor single mother. You know, I remember grocery store clerks saying things to me as I would show up to buy my food with my food stamp card. I remember doctors who would look at our chart and see we were on Medicaid and say, oh, well, your son must be a daycare baby, simply because they saw I was on Medicaid, even though he wasn't even in daycare. So just, constant judgment from people, even well-meaning family members who would say things like, well, why are you going to college? You're a single mom. You're never going to be anything. So those are the kinds of messages you hear constantly as somebody struggling, which doesn't do much to help your self-confidence. It doesn't do much to help somebody who's already prone to depression or anxiety. But we eventually did make our way out of that. I eventually did get my degree. I actually ended up working at the Housing Authority as a case manager for people who were in the very same situation I had been at one point. But to get there was a very difficult road. Not only the actual physical work of working those jobs, getting the resources to pull ourselves out of that situation while raising a child, but it involved a lot of work with counseling in places like Samaritan, who served my family. Because certainly there's a lot of trauma that came out of that time. Like I said, I've struggled with anxiety and depression, feelings of worthlessness. I needed a place like Samaritan to help me address those issues, to help me learn about healthy relationships, to learn tools and skills, to learn with those situations that I was in. And so it is incredibly valuable to have places like Samaritan and have these resources for people in our community, because it literally can change and save somebody's life. If I had not gotten support, if I had not been able to learn those tools, I don't know we would have ended up where we were today. I don't know that the story would have ended up as good as it did. I remember when I actually went to my first job, or to apply for my first position with the political campaign. In my head, I was literally telling myself, you're a single mom. Nobody's gonna wanna hire you for anything. You're not good at anything. You're a single mom. That's all you are. But it was those little steps of getting that first job in politics, all those things that help build your confidence to the point that you start to believe that you are worth something. And working with a counselor that can help you see and celebrate those little victories and see that you are worthwhile and that you deserve better and that your family deserves better. That is the value of counseling. That is the value of places like Samaritan. So, that is my story in a nutshell. So, like I said, it did actually turn out pretty well. But one thing I do worry about is that sometimes when we talk about these stories, we act as though that's the end, right? That eventually I did get my degree, my son and I became self-sufficient, I got elected to office, and we kind of leave the story there as though that's the end, and everything is always rosy from there and never bad again. But the truth is that it's not. That's not how life works. So my time at Samaritan didn't end because I got elected to office or got my degree. I have continued to seek help at Samaritan. I know they listed me there as a former client, but I consider myself a current client because there is not a marriage or a parent that I know that doesn't benefit from counseling. Life is hard, marriage is hard, parenting is hard, and certainly while my story turned out pretty good, it is not as though all those things that happened in the past never leave me. They still impact my relationships today. And so continued counseling does help you to continue to work on those issues, to continue to build your skills to have better relationships and deal with anxiety and depression and those things that aren't magically just gone away because something good happens to you. So I do consider it to be something that is still part of my life, still part of my well-being, that counseling isn't something you just do once and are done, that it really is something to continue to be part of your life. And one of the things that I put this slide up here for is one of my very favorite things in my life is a podcast called My Favorite Murder. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of it, but one of the things about it is they often talk about mental health and counseling. In fact, the two hosts on the podcast even talk about going to counseling together as business partners because it helps them to make sure that they are communicating well and that even as business partners, therapy and counseling helps them. So they talk about it a lot. There's really been a community that has built up around this podcast that really talks about the stigma of counseling and therapy. And the hosts are hilarious, but one of the things, again, that they're constantly doing is talking about their own trips to therapy, including putting up tweets like this, where Karen Kilgariff wrote, "I crushed therapy today." And if you look at the comments, if you go to this Twitter thread, there are really great things, really great comments. One comment was, well, I just cried all day at my therapy session, and Karen Kilgariff wrote, "Crying is crushing it." And I thought that was awesome. But again, it's about the stigma that counseling, while it's important that we come here today to support those people that don't have access, that need help getting access, and that we support that and make it possible for them, it isn't just for those people. Again, counseling and therapy is for everybody. There isn't anybody that can't benefit from counseling. And I just want to make sure we don't ever think about it as being something that's just for those people, or only people who have really hard or terrible stories to tell. Again, counseling is for everybody, and I do want to just make sure we're always careful that while I'm proud to share my story and talk about why counseling mattered to me, and that I did travel a very difficult road, many people have their own stories to tell. And again, counseling isn't just for those stories. It's truly for everybody. And so while I'm glad we're here to talk about access for the people that need help getting there and need help support being able to get that access, I hope that we know we all can benefit from Samaritan, not just those people, and from counseling in general. So again, thank you for making it possible for those people to get help and for your support of Samaritan. We're so lucky to have Samaritan in our community, so I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Whew. When the executive director gets teary with a testimony, it's something. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time from your schedule, busy schedule, to share your story, to show us that resilience is something that's possible and hard work that each one of us should be thinking about doing or should be doing. Thank you. And thank you for your work in legislature to improve mental health services for every member of our community. Well, there's more. Each May since 2010, Samaritan Counseling Center has honored a woman with the Connie Steele Woman of Strength Award. Connie Steele served on Samaritan's board of directors with vision and strength. I love this story and I tell it every year because it's so cool and shows how much she changed notions of what was possible. One time the board was discussing about the need to raise $100,000 and she said, why not raise $1 million? Right? She challenged notions of what was possible. And she also overcame personal adversity, moving to a new community in the midst of cancer treatment. The award on her name recognizes Connie's brand of strength in other women. 2 past recipients of the Connie Steele Woman of Strength Award are amongst us today. Would we help me recognize these 2 past awardees, Miriam Douglas and Sarah Kompanek? Would you stand, please? So, to select this year's award recipient, we sought nominations of women who live and work in the communities where we have our counseling offices, the Fox Cities, Oshkosh, New London, and Kaukauna. Each nomination included 1-page letters or essays from no fewer than 3 nominators. There was a lot to read. I'd like to thank the members of the selection team who considered these nominations. Connie's daughter is one of them. Her name is Melanie, and she lives in Twin Cities but couldn't be here with us today. But Jack Fry, Ann Lorkey, Jim Morgenstern, and 2018 Connie Steele Woman of Strength, Sarah Kompanek, are present. Would you please stand? Thank you. These 5 committee members had a tough job because we had a record number of nominations for this award. These 5 people reviewed 10 nominees with Connie Steele's honest spirit in mind, along with 8 characteristics that she embodied: strength of character, integrity, courage, generosity, faith, optimism, persistence, and community service. The nominees you are about to meet and about whom you can read in your program are all strong. This afternoon we will honor each nominee with a pendant custom designed and handcrafted by Jackie Shuby of Dulia Dube Designs. Her creation captures the Woman of Strength concept that's represented in our Silent Samaritan campaign logo. Thank Jackie for sharing her art with us. Now, I'll ask our new development director, Jane France, to introduce our nominees one by one.
Thank you, Ro. Good afternoon. You know, growing up 10th of 11 children, I always thought that my mom was the strongest woman. She was actually pregnant 15 of 19 years. I know it's hard to imagine, but I was there. Then I became acquainted with our slate of nominees. Summarizing the 3-page essays for each of these women was truly humbling. I was inspired as I got to know each one of you through the eyes of your family, friends, peers, and coworkers. There is no doubt that each one of you is worthy of this award. And to be in your presence today is an honor and a blessing. As many of you in this room can attest, juggling family, friends, career, school, church, community service, and time for self can be an exhausting balancing act. Yet to our 10 nominees, it seems to come naturally. A theme emerged: selflessness, compassion, and an unrelenting pursuit of making things better for others, often in spite of tremendous hurdles, against all odds, and for no reward or gain other than the satisfaction of knowing you made life better for someone else. True heroines. So thank you to the nominators who took the time to capture the essence of the nominees on paper. Because of time, I encourage you all to read the essays in your program, as today I can only share briefly how these women and their strength has been depicted by their nominators. So, Joyce Abel, come on up. Joyce exemplifies Good Samaritan every day of her life, according to one friend. She strives to do the right thing instead of the easy thing and instills that value in her children and friends. She has a heartfelt concern for youth and contributes money for books in the Kaukauna schools through the Keene Foundation Fund, which she and her husband founded. Joyce was nominated by Colleen Klister, Kay Abel, and Giovanna Feller. Carol DiBiasio Snyder. Carol encourages others to live life fully, serve others, seek justice, and embrace God's love. She volunteers with the Democratic Party, Oshkosh Public Library, Habitat for Humanity, Oshkosh YMCA, Day by Day Warming Shelter, among others. Everyone who has been touched by Carol's indomitable spirit would agree that it is her faith that informs her, because she not only knows who she is, but whose she is. One of her nominators wrote. Carol was nominated by Lori Yaste Zychek, Kathleen Stark-Willie, and Pat Blades. Kelly Cole. A single mother of 2 daughters who overcame many obstacles, Kelly is described as a woman of great integrity, honesty, and faith. Her life is a living example of love all neighbors as yourself. She believes the way up the social and economic ladder is through education and self-reliance, and credits education, courage, and a supportive community for all her success. She was nominated by Jillian Cole, Steve Olson, and Rayon Brown on behalf of the Education Advocate Team at Fox Valley Technical College. Myra Paseas. Growing up amidst the horrific civil war in El Salvador, Myra has an innate cultural sensitivity that she brings to her personal, professional, and volunteer work. A single mom raising 2 daughters, nurturing comes naturally, as she has helped thousands of students in her 20-year tenure at Fox Valley Tech. Myra was nominated by Nancy Hikes, Carol DeRosier, Mito Kudaka, and Rayon Brown. Lori Kroll. Lori is passionate about the need in our community and engages with residents to advocate for those less fortunate, one nominator wrote. She worked tirelessly to make Mission of Hope, Wapaka's first and only 24/7 homeless shelter, a reality. Her indomitable spirit has had a profound impact on many lives. Lori was nominated by Lori Chestnut, Patricia Toney, and April Kapitsky. Barbara Rao. The first female dean of the UW-Oshkosh College of Business is described by colleagues as a quiet, courageous, compassionate advocate for diversity, protective of all the rights of all kinds of minorities. A woman of high moral standards and integrity, She believes in the essential worth of all persons regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender, and she actively practices inclusion. She was nominated by Joanne Cross, Sarah DeArmond, and Wendy Potratz. Cherie Steckley. Wife, mother, foster parent, author, manager, and volunteer. Cherie has worn many hats. One of her nominators wrote, "Cherie shines like the sun in people's lives where darkness is present. She treats all people the same, as children of God, and consistently tries to ease their suffering." Cherie was nominated by Marianne Hovey, Carl Steckley, and Linda Slava. So Leslie Taylor is next. She was unable to be with us today, so I'd like to invite Martha Wheeler to come forward and accept her gift. A visionary whose actions and words inspire and motivate others, Leslie is fueled by a deep-seated empathy for people in emotional distress. One nominator shared, "Leslie's belief in me restored a sense of my innate value and led me to take on community service hand in hand with her at Levin and the small nonprofit Trust Works." Leslie was nominated by Emily Bowles, Martha Wheeler, and Mary Parsons. Sally Sherwall. Despite recovering from her own injuries sustained after being hit by a car not once, but twice,
She barely needs help to come out here. Wow.
requiring months of recovery, at 83, Sally has remained strong, positive, and confident, well known in her community as a crossing guard, volunteering at church, Theta Care New London, and the polls at election time. When people are having a difficult time, they think about what Sally has endured and say, if Sally can do it, so can I. Sally was nominated by Mona Sherwall, Lola Zog, and Reverend Joyce Rich. Now I will invite Sarah Kampanik to come forward. Sarah is Samaritan Counseling Center's 2018 Connie Steele Woman of Strength. She will introduce one more nominee, this year's Connie Steele Woman of Strength Award winner.
Thank you, Jane. A teacher and counselor in the Neenah Joint School District for over 3 decades, Carolyn Brown Scheening was described by her boss as the most intuitive and effective counselor I've ever met. She was part of the effort to develop the alcohol and drug addiction program for Neenah High School. Carolyn lost her first husband when their boys were young. She remarried and became part of a blended family and helped to parent their 10 children. When her second husband fell ill, she cared for him through a liver transplant and cancer. She lost her best friend and her own home in the tornado of 1984. Carolyn possesses unbounding energy, very high morale and ethical standards, and strong faith. She has been part of the Neenah Community Action Committee, the Fox City's Victim Crisis Response Team for 16 years, and as a mediator at the Winnebago County Conflict Resolution Center. She has specialized training in human sex trafficking and assisting addicts who want treatment. She is a natural when it comes to communicating with people of all walks of life and treating everyone fairly and honestly. Carolyn was nominated by Jeffrey Zadrali, Ann Cadow, and Len Hansen. It is my honor to present the 2019 Connie Steele Woman of Strength Award to Carolyn Brown Scheening.
would just like to say thank you. I want to say a special thank you to the speaker. Thank you for being so brave to share your story with us. It was really truly a story of resilience and hope, and I thank you very much. I'd also like to thank all the people who are in this room today. If you look around this room, you see it is filled with people who routinely share their talents and strengths and gifts with others. So thank you all. Just look around and look at this wonderful group of people that are here with us today. I'd also like to thank the people who took the time to write letters in support of someone they cared about. It is greatly appreciated by all of us, I know. And finally, I would like to thank the Samaritan Counseling Center, because they are bringing hope every single day to people in this community and making it a safer, gentler, kinder, hopeful place to live. So thank you to all of you, and thank you for this honor.
Whew. Isn't this an amazing event? Yes. Thank you so much. So this was event number 15, right? First time, as I mentioned, we had volunteers bringing the soup bowls, with washing the dishes themselves. We did this in a church in Nina, and it was a room that I was there, and I remember it was maybe we had 30 women there. Kathy really was there, and I don't remember if anybody, well, who else? Just because we have a few minutes, how many people were at the very first event? I know you were here today. Raise your hand high. There you go. We're not going to be aging ourselves at all. Right? This has been an amazing journey. Usually events like this have a life cycle, and they tend to just kind of dwindle. But this event actually, when it seemed like it was going down, it took like a big blow of wind on the sails, and it grew bigger. And it grew bigger because you believe in what we are doing here. You know the need is out there. The need is amongst us. And you believe that Samaritan can do something very significant to make a difference in people's lives. And you're putting your heart and your money in that belief. You are the heroes in the stories of many, many women. You are the heroes in Amanda's life. People who come like Amanda came, who don't have all the resources to fully fund the services, because I don't know how many of you know, but when we receive payment from health insurances, what we receive from the health insurances, be it commercial or Medicaid, public insurance, it rarely reaches the full cost of an hour of service. And we are always subsidizing, raising funds to make that possible to happen. But for people who don't have a commercial insurance, that is even harder. The reimbursement rate is low, and many people don't feel like they even deserve the care, like Amanda mentioned. What about even the people who don't have any health insurance? We are serving these people every day, day in and day out. And not only with counseling, but also with the Wellness Screen program also. We are going into the schools and identifying people who need the services, youth, kids, as young as preschoolers we are screening now. And if these kids need help to be seen by someone, our case workers are going to be working with that family through that moment of surprise when they first learn that their kids are struggling in a way that they were not aware of. And our case workers help them connect with services. Of course, we are not serving all the kids. We offered the screen to over 15,000 students this year. And in 2018, in this school year, and in 2018, we provided counseling services for over 1,500 individuals in the counseling center in our 5 different offices. You are making possible the work we do. When you look at people around you who are struggling, you can feel good that you are doing something to help them when you contribute to a campaign like this one, or when any other time you have a chance to give a gift to Samaritan, or when you talk to someone about what Samaritan does. Someone may not have even the belief, the courage to seek help, or they say, it doesn't matter. It won't make any difference. It does. You heard the story today. People can learn to be resilient. And when people come to Samaritan, we give them our secret sauce. We help them find their spirits, find what is sacred for them. We use what is sacred. We help them connect with the sacred within themselves so they can begin to change their beliefs about themselves and their circumstances. And through that, they build resilience. That's the work that Amanda was helping to do. That's the work we are helping individuals do every single day. And that's the work you make possible. So thank you so much for your gift to this campaign, for supporting Samaritan in so many different ways. Thank you so much for being here. It has been an amazing time. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us, and I hope to see you again next year. Have a great rest of your week.